start 7 minutes from now.
Excellent, 7 minutes. So, I was invited to think about economising my teaching delivery, and we were asked to deliver much more whole group teaching. And I deliver a first year module called Reading Literature Survey module with 120 students on it. It runs in 2 sections for the whole year. And I thought I just don't want to give them more lectures. I can give them more lectures. I could teach them LeBihan or give them 3 lectures on Hamlet, and that would just be fine, but I don't think it's particularly good for them. They really like the lectures, actually. They always ask for more lectures and less stuff where they actually have to do any work, but I think it's just because they like to be entertained. So to resist that, I decided that one of the things they also needed to do was learn the texts. And they find reading Renaissance drama straight after A-level or just coming in quite a challenge. So there are quite a lot of good screenings and adaptations, either film stage adaptations or films made for TV of standard Renaissance texts like Hamlet and Macbeth, Dr. Faustus, which are the ones we teach. So I thought the best thing would be to get them to watch those before they go to seminar, and then we know they know at least roughly how the plot goes. But I also wanted them to start thinking about the critical questions they're going to discuss in the seminars. And so I decided to employ Twitter as a means of getting them to think about the questions and talk to one another in the group. It's a large group. The screenings take place between 4 and 6 on a Thursday evening. And the idea of that as well, although it sounds punishing, is that in the first semester of their first year, they might have an opportunity then to socialise afterwards and engage and not just talk to each other over the Twitter sphere, but talk to one another in reality and perhaps go out to the pub afterwards if they want to. So I did that. I set up a whole bunch of things in my head. I colonised a hashtag #ShoeRead, and decided that we would use #ShoeRead as the site for all the discussion. I went to a session with Julian Ryan on how to use Twitter, and Julian said, "Oh, have you thought about Storyfy?" So I said, "Oh, no, what's that?" So he said, "Oh, well, you can download all your tweets into Storyfy and keep them." So I thought, "Oh, okay," and then I didn't think any more about it. And I did the first tweetathon the first week on the first half of Dr. Faustus. And the students came, loads of them came, or pretty much all 120 of them came. And I know that because I ran a chocolate raffle. And the prize was given out at the end, so they weren't allowed to leave halfway through, because then they wouldn't get their raffle prize. So it was pretty full. There was some tweeting, but not much. None of them had used Twitter extensively. About 20 out of 110 already had a Twitter account. All of them had a smart device except for one student. There was one student who didn't have a smart device. They all had a smart device. Few of them had used Twitter. Most of them were willing to have a go. But in the end, probably in the first session, I got about 15 or 20 students actually tweeting, and quite a lot of people from the e-learning team joining in. I also got a few of the Renaissance professors in the department to join in, because I'm not a Renaissance specialist. So I got them to supervise and join in as well as a means of getting the students involved. So that was, in a sense, I wanted the students to get a sense of it, of Twitter being a fairly public environment, so to know that other people are joining in even though they're not in the room. So that was kind of useful. I did the first session, got the first tweets, and a colleague said, "Oh, have you used Storyfy?" No, Julia mentioned Storyfy. What am I going to do? I opened Storyfy, having not seen it before, and actually within probably about 19, 20 minutes had produced my first Storyfy account, which was really pleasing, because it is so easy. So is anyone who used Storyfy? So some of you have used it already. And this is the thing about it, it will take a whole set of tweets from a hashtag just automatically with one click of a button. But that's not all it does. So it has quite a sophisticated way of being able to edit it. And you can incorporate all sorts of things. So at the time I was onto my third Storify account, I was probably spending about 3.5 hours editing them, post the thing. But what I realised is that it's really enormous fun. It's very reflective. It enables you to think about all the things that the students have raised in the tweeting, all the issues that have been raised in the tweeting, and collate those and in clusters. You don't have to just put all the tweets in, you can be selective. And in fact, in that process of selecting the students, at the end of when you completed the Storify, it invites you to send the message to the students who you've included. And they quite like that. Oh, my tweet was good enough to be included in the Storify. So that is quite good, and they retweet it and favourite it on their own accounts. And that they do quite like that. But it also enables you to put in extra stuff that, you know, references to things, greater theorisation of material, links to stuff in the library, all sorts of things that you might want to do. So if you haven't seen one, you know, these are all on the web. I did learn that you need to start them with a picture, otherwise they really look very strange. You have to start. And well, I've used the hashtag ShoeRead so that they're easy to find. They are completely public. But you know, I began with a quote from this student and followed it up with a whole bunch of discussions. And the hallucinatory car chase ran through as a theme in all our discussions after Macbeth, actually, all the way through the Bleak House into Sherlock Holmes. We were talking about car chases. And so the other thing about the process is that it does represent a kind of the collective consciousness of the group, the in-jokes, if you like, so that you're building a kind of cohesion and a sense of fun. And I wanted the students to have a sense of fun and a light-heartedness out of these Twitter screenings. I wanted them to enjoy the literature, actually, in their first year of their first semester, and that can be quite a challenge. Are we done now?
1 minute.
1 minute. So that was, and I think that worked. I think the other thing that I wanted to do once I learnt to do Storify and produced a few was to get the students to do them and for them to take their edit on each of the sessions. And actually, they weren't willing to do that when I encouraged them in. So I need to get them to do that because it's an editing process that I think they'll learn a lot from. But I will have to build that in a more directed way rather than the informal way that I try. But if you haven't done it, I would encourage you to do it. And if you have done it, I would really like to see yours to see what you've done.
Thank you very much, Jill.